Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
Good morning. Welcome to Probate Mastery's real estate brokerage coaching call. I'm Bill Gross. I'm the host of this call. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and everything in between on either side. This program is affiliated or part of the package at probatemastery.com, which is a coaching program that I've used and I think is fantastic. And it has several different components with it. Just since they're a sponsor, probatemastery.com, and there's different paths. You can go to the basics, get certified, or courses and bundles, and learn more. Probate Mastery is like the basic program. I think that people ask me all the time, which coaching program's best? It's like asking what tool's best. I think it depends on what you want to accomplish. But for me, Probate Mastery is the best at teaching you kind of the come from, the philosophy. How do I approach this business as a business, as opposed to some of the coaching programs I think are merely how to cold call probate leads. And I think in the long run, that leads to a difficult business. There's a second program, Earn Attorney Referrals Now, or Earn, about how to develop business from referrals from attorneys, which is my basic source. And there's also Probate Principles and Practices, Probate Foundations, and a host of other things. We can continue the conversation on Facebook at the Estate Professionals Mastermind Group, almost 7,000 people there. You can post questions, comments, customer service leads if you need, but feel free to participate there. Love to have you there. Separately, I am my own. I'm a broker. I'm not a coach for the company. I don't really get paid by them at all. I do this program because I need it as a practitioner to up my game and hold me accountable. And so I have my own program. I do Thursdays, probateweekly.com. Love to have you join us. You can see past episodes at episodes.probateweekly.com or come to probateweekly.com if you want to come in on the live Zoom. Love to have you participate. And I also have my own Facebook group, Probate Weekly, with just under 3,000. Gosh, I wish you guys would help me get over that list. And we're real close to 3,000 people there. But again, and in my case, I can't really speak for the other Facebook group, but on mine, feel free to post your probate-related content. You know, I think we all need help. And one of the ways I've built my social media following is posting media content, both on my own Facebook group, and then I'm with a large national company posting it there has also been helpful for me. This call is meant to be a coaching call. It's meant to be you asking questions and me either answering them or other people on the call hearing the question and answering them as well. It's meant to be collaborative and for us to work together, sharing best practices, encouraging each other, sharing victories and such. So feel free to jump in and ask questions, or if you're a little shyer, raise your hand in the Zoom app or put a question in the chat, and I'd be more than glad to answer them if we can help with that. If you know I'll start just a little bit on the soapbox since I don't see any questions hanging yet. And what I will say is that one thing I'll say for sure about the business is I don't know necessarily that my business isn't down. In fact, I'm closing a bunch of business this week and next, but it's gotten a lot harder. And I think that I don't know which coach said this, but don't ask the business was easier, ask that you get better or get better. And so I would say that for anybody on this call, my goal, now I'm not here to sell you anything, so I don't really care if you like it or not. I'm going to tell you the truth. I hope you like it. But what I want to say is that the business overall, the number of sales nationally is down by just under 30%. You can say that's the bad news. Prices are holding pretty steady. But at the same time, I think that the number of agents we're competing with has also dropped about 30%. Now, that leaves about the same number of deals per agent, but more of the agents who are failing are getting out. The ones who are making it are staying in. So I think what that means is the competition's getting more challenging for each deal. I know I feel that. I see more and more deals going to the same people and less to other people on the outside, which I don't mean to say as a way to discourage anybody here, but as a call to action. I think the gap between you and where you need to be to achieve your next level is less than you think. It might be a little more work than you'd like it to be, but it's within your reach. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't do this call. I absolutely wouldn't. And so I would encourage you to fight at it, push at it, keep at it, put a plan together. I took yesterday 2 hours to redesign my business plan, sit down, think about what's working, what's not working, what changes we need to make to tighten up. I do a lot of things. It was kind of, to me, staggering when I listed all the things we're doing. But that doesn't matter. I need to do more. Ooh, I'm sorry. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let me make sure I get that done. I hit the save button. There you go. Okay. So what I want to say is, whatever you're doing, just do more. Grant Cardone, one of my coaches, there's the 10X, and there's his book right below that. Also free on YouTube in audio format. You have no excuse not to read or listen to it. Every listing I've sold in the last 3 years, I've sent the buyer's agent a copy of that book as a thank you card. I think it's a must read if you're a real estate agent. Whatever you're doing marketing wise, just do 10 times. Like that will solve your problem. Let me give you the book in a real short format. And so I look at my business, and when I heard that 2 years ago, I was posting on content 2 or 3 times a week. I thought, how in the world could I do 10 times? I'll be honest with you, 2 years later, I didn't even know how many social media posts I do a week. I really couldn't count. I could count them all. It would just take too darn long. I mean, just on YouTube alone, I must do 3 or 4 a day. A short, a cut up short, a podcast, a couple cuts in the podcast. That's just YouTube. That doesn't count Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know what the number is, but I know more is better. That I do know. I do know that I email out a lot. I have people say, well, I get a lot of emails from you. Great. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. I don't care either way, because I need to send out more, not less. I need to reach out a bigger net, not less. I need to reach out more often, not less. I sent an email out last week asking my database, hey, would you mind giving me a Google business review? Now, that's a little arrogant. My coach told me to do that. I did it first time about 6 months ago. I had 41 Google reviews before I sent the email. I'm over 110 now. I got about 60 already, and I still got 2 more today. Now, you might say, well, Bill, you have a big following. Okay, I didn't always. My email list is 15,000 people. Well, if yours is 1,500, you might not get 60 Google reviews, but would 6 be better than none? Right? So you should get your database. If you've been in business for 5 years more, it should be at, I used to say at 500, I would say 1,000 minimum. I'm actually doing a masterclass on email for real estate agents because I coach this topic so much to my team. I feel the need to record it and make it available. And so one way to pay for that is we're going to offer it publicly. I think we're going to offer it at $97 if you're the XP, half price, and if you're on my downline for free. But the goal is to really talk about these things and get serious about it. So get into action. And I believe I can help you contact 16 times more people via email with just some basic fundamentals in 30 days. Michelle asked what the name of the book was. The name of the book is 10X, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, aka Uncle G. And I'll just tell you an interesting story. I won't tell now unless somebody asks me to tell the story. I called on him when he was an expired listing in my market. That's how I came to learn about Grant Cardone. Was I literally called him and had a tough conversation as a real estate agent with him before I even knew he was an author. Okay, so that's my charge for today. Whatever you're doing, it's going to be hard. Just, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not sympathetic. I work hard all day. I only work 40 hours a week. I work half a day Friday and half a day on Sunday. Otherwise, I'm working 8 to 5. I work out. I add time on afterwards, but I work 8 hours a day, no more. So I'm not asking you to work superhuman amount. I am saying in the time you work, get to work. And whatever you think you're doing, just figure out how to do 10 times more in the same time. Just ask that question. What would it take for me to talk to 10 times more people? And things will fall into place for you. Okay, patiently, I see Debbie Covert with your hand up. Let's get you in here. It's meant to be participative, so let's get you going. I'm going to ask you to unmute and spotlight you in and try again. No, ask to unmute. There you go. Oh, there we go.
So you're saying business is down. Are you talking about general real estate, or that impacts the probate as well? It seems like the probate would not be impacted as much.
The people who sell you probate data and call it probate leads, which I think is dishonest to begin with or misleading to begin with, would say to you that this business is impervious to downturns in the market.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Nothing is impervious to a downturn in the market. I think that I started this business in 1986, and I was in the mortgage business, and my focus was purchase business as opposed to refinance. Refinance is more cyclical based on the rates, purchase more based on relationships. And we used to say, well, if you have relationships, you're impervious to the ups and downs of the market. Well, it's not true, because when the market drops, people start looking for new markets. And I would say there's more interest in probate than before. And I think the interest is often bad interest, meaning I'm the executor on an estate right now, and you should see the mailers I'm getting and the phone calls and the texts I'm getting. And I imagine that's what the average administrator gets. This property is in San Diego. So San Diego is a very competitive market. So what I'll say to you is, I don't know that it's certainly not better or worse. It's different. I think that it may be true that there's the same number of probates, or more people are dying, there might be more probates, but with less agents. And if the agents who are left are better, more of them are going to look at probate and say, well, how can I do better in this market? And I will also say is, whereas a good chunk of my business, a year and 2 years ago, were brand new agents who had a probate and would come to you with a referral. Now I see as those agents try and do it all on their own because they're desperate for money, and they're doing a worse job, doing a bad job as a result. So I do think there's a chance for me to distinguish myself in my competitive market, but I need to stand out more to get that attention. So I don't know. That's a philosophical question. Maybe what do you see? You tell me. As a market, are you? How long have you been in probate business, and is it not affecting you in any way? It doesn't. I'm closing more business. I got some great leads coming in, but I just feel like every deal is a lot harder to fight. What do you see?
Okay. And I have a second question that has more to do with the transition of, this whole program.
Mm-hmm.
So we get that Friday calendar of, all the things. And now it has all these extra things. And I'm wondering, are those for the probate mastery students, like the certification probate mastery students?
So I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that. I've bought, I think, everything they sell. I bought the Probate Mastery, I bought the EARN program. I did fundamentals with Bruce when he was at the prior company. Piece of other things we don't offer anymore. So I don't know. McKenna's the person to ask, or
ask McKenna.
Either put a chat in here. I don't see her online now, but she'll usually pops in, or go to the Facebook group and put a question. That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer. I'd be glad to share it with you, but I just don't really know.
Okay, because I'm feeling a little detached since the transition. It seemed like there was more ability to communicate prior. So that's why I was curious, like all these things, do we get to join in all of them, or why they're showing up on that Friday calendar?
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not in touch with the plan. I maybe a little delinquent in reaching out and taking copious notes on it. I know what I want and what I need, and I'm pretty focused on my business right now. I'm here to help coach on the mechanics of the probate business. I'm not tied into the company stuff that much. I'm sorry. But post in the Facebook group. I'm sure you'll get an answer there. And I'll put in the chat box, the Facebook group. It's the
and I'll try to direct it to McKenna, so it's not a bunch of students guessing.
Well, they may know, and other people may have the same question. I think that's also the power of the Facebook group, is you're probably asking a question other people like to know the answer to, but don't have the courage to ask. So I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay. So who else has a question, challenge, problem, victory you want to report? Defeat you want to share what you learned from? Anybody? No? I'll share something that's happening with me more often. And again, I think this gets back to, how bad you want to succeed. So I had a couple probates in a row, two from the same attorney, it turned out, where I would say the administrator or executor were just not able to do the job and really needed me to do things that normally I wouldn't do, like they didn't e-sign documents. Now, to be honest, if you're not going to e-sign, it creates a lot more work. It slows things down. And in my mind, I'm either going to charge you more or I got to figure out how to deal with it. I'm lucky I work with a large national company, is able to get another agent to meet with one of the clients and go through disclosures. Another one, I had to get a mobile notary for the initial escrow package, as well as get them to set an appointment for me to walk them through. But even I'm able to set bank accounts and answer basic questions. And I want to say the attorney really appreciated. I also helped them get the legal forms signed and back. And along with the probate, they need to have a bond application signed and completed and back and notarized. And a probate advance, they needed to get money going. So I know I have friends in real estate, so well, that's not your job, and you should just work on marketing and get the next listing. And I just want to say, I make enough money. I want to make more, but I make enough money because I think I help people and take that extra step. And so for me, I know I just hung up with this attorney who not only have it closed a few with, but he's working on another lead for me. Just thank you so much for taking care of that for me. And I know we often go through life and people don't say that. And attorneys in particular aren't so good. This guy I've known for a long time, and we've done some good business together the last few years. And it was really gratifying to have him appreciate the extra step. I didn't do it necessarily to expect the extra step. I did because I want to be a decent person. I know that for both these people, this is life-changing money that they're going to come into, a couple $100,000 and $500,000. And I want to make, and they're not capable of doing it without me. It would not happen without me. Like we all have seen those escrows that linger forever or listings that linger forever. This would be a couple of those, but I'm getting paid on both of them probably this week. And because I was willing to do things that other people aren't. So don't back off. Like I said, don't ask the business be easier, do more or ask to be better. Speaking of don't be like Larry Smith. That's a terrible transition. No, speaking of be better, be like Larry Smith. Be like him. Wear Hawaiian shirts and look like you just got out of the beach. Let me ask you, unmute there, Larry. Larry, and I don't know Larry Smith, if you're related to the Larry Smith group, but I'm glad to have you here.
I am. And they're a heck of a group if you get in there. Pretty choosy, though. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about can you kind of, because you're a big deal on YouTube now, and you do a lot of video, and I've just started. I've got my channel up and running, and getting a lot of views. It's kind of surprising because I don't think they're that good, but I guess people like the topics and stuff like that. But kind of like from your practice, can you kind of talk a little bit about like what your strategy is with what you're doing with YouTube? And I think you have more than one channel, right?
No, I only have one.
So you have one channel.
Mm-hmm.
And can you kind of talk about what your strategy is, how you are deploying it, and what the target is, stuff like that? Because I'm like looking for me personally, I think I've got a pretty good fix now after muddling away with it for the last 6 weeks, but I'm starting to get a good fix about where I want to target and the type of videos I want to create to attract the audience I want, and the target that I want to get to. So can you kind of talk a little bit about yours? Because I know we've never talked about it. I would love to hear your take on your strategy and the way that you come to the market with it.
Sure. So first, I'll just do a shameless plug on yours at LG Smith Realty, YouTube at youtube.com/at LG Smith Realty, and the link is in the notes.
Mine's Legacy Transitions.
Ooh, okay. Hold on a second.
Legacy Transitions.
Oh, okay. Well, let's make sure. Well, there's rule one. Get the right. There we go. Oh, look at that. Okay, so let's get the right link in there.
Yeah. So if everybody
so
wants
one
to go
rule
out,
one, get your link out there all the time.
Okay.
Rule one. and I'll give you all a little trick that I learned.
Okay.
So YouTube is like a whole world, and it's not my goal to be a YouTube influencer. It's my goal to influence people and use YouTube as a channel to do it, as a tool to do it. The more people who see me in video in the long run, the more influence I'm going to have. If you look at my channel link, I just put it in the chat box, youtube.com/@BillGrossProbate is the name of my channel. And then after that, you see !sub_confirmation=1. If you add at the end of your channel name that extra verbiage, ? I'm going to do it with yours, Larry, just to prove the point.
Okay.
Transitions. Let me just see if I can make that work for us. I think that's going to work. Yeah. So if you change your link and if you just offer to people with that on yours, when they click on it,
Right.
it says, do you want to subscribe? Yes or no. Now, I don't think you're going to get people to subscribe who wouldn't subscribe, but like I would have, and I didn't. Meaning, when I put your channel up for the purpose of showing people now,
Right.
when I searched and found your channel, I didn't automatically hit subscribe. I didn't really think about it one way or the other, to be honest.
Right.
I saw your face. I was so enamored with how good looking you are. It stopped me in my tracks. And I started looking at the content.
Wow.
Like, and the thing is, I can't play it now. I'm doing the show or doing this call. So I can't do much now. And then you asked me a question, I forgot all about it, meaning I forgot to subscribe to your link. But if you put in the link I gave you,
Yeah. And
it goes right to, do I want to subscribe or not?
whoa.
Well, I'll subscribe, and
Of
there you are, I
course you do.
subscribed. So, well, you say of course, but again, when I first pulled it up and you and I were talking,
Right.
I didn't think about it. And I had to search it. You made me have to search it versus be quick to put the link out to people that you want to have look at your YouTubes.
So all you did there, Bill, going back is in your channel now. You put
This is not the channel name. This is when you send the channel name.
sending. Okay.
You add to the link !sub_confirmation=1, right? And it's all in the, I'm going to put that in the chat box as well. There you go. If you just copy paste that at the end of anybody's channel name or channel link, then rather than just go to their channel, which you should always, when people ask the channel, you shouldn't just say it. If you're on a call with 34 real estate agents, you should copy and paste it. So I can hit the link. And the link you should send should be that one. Make sense?
That's that is a great tip.
Now that's the same
subscribers
link.
is important.
Right. Now again, and I want to be clear here because I've really been a student of YouTube and I've listened to multiple YouTube coaches. There's a lot of stuff out there that's appropriate if your goal is to be an influencer, not a real estate agent. And there's lots of out there that's, I think, selling coaching, not really real. But I think that if you are sending this to people who should want to, or candidates to subscribe, it makes all the sense in the world. So for example, in your email, do you have a little, like if in my email, I don't know if I could pull it up. Let's see here, because I could.
Yeah, if you could, I'd love to see your email.
It's not really special, to be honest. I'm not the most creative guy in the world. But do you see my YouTube here or my email?
Yeah.
Okay, so here I have a little icon. It's not that big a deal, but that link is the link with the !sub_1 or whatever the formula is, meaning you can see there it is. That's the link I'm using rather than just the channel link. Because I don't want you just to go to my channel and never come back. I'd like you to consider subscribing it if appropriate for you.
Very nice. That's nice.
That's a little thing. So to answer your question, but to go back to your question, and I feel like I could do a whole, and Joyce, I see your hand up. Thanks for being patient. I see I have outlined like a whole masterclass I've done on YouTube channels for realtors that I've done for my team members, and maybe we'll publish that or maybe we'll do something with that at some point. But what I want to say is there's no one thing that will transform your channel. It's a lot of little details. The one thing that will transform your channel, and I'm not saying I've mastered it, but I work it every day, is the quality of your content. That will overcome every mistake. And there's no technology that will overcome that problem. There's a book written for, I think, marriage-minded girls or women. It's called He's Just Not That Into You. And I used to coach marriage-minded men. And so I talked about the book. And all it means is, why do people not come back? They're just not that into you. So in video, it just means your content just isn't that good. Like, why do more people not come on this call? Well, the good news is I get enough who do come on. And the bad news, I don't get more because I'm just not that good. If I want more, I have to get better. And if you start with that premise, and I'm not saying that to knock me or you, I'm just saying either way, our job is to get better. Then you have to look at the content and say, well, what are people responding to and what are they not responding to? And get more people to respond to it. Now, there are a lot of little things you can do to give yourself a fairer chance. So, send out your link. If you have content you think is good, post it, email it, the link. And there's a million things you can do to promote it. But I'm just saying, start with those two things. Make sure people see it. So, for example, in my email mastermind class, shameless plug, I believe every real estate agent should have at minimum an email they send to everybody in their database once a week. At a minimum. I think the days of these canned follow-up sequences, nobody likes them. People sell them. Realtors love buying them. Realtors love setting them up because they're in their mind, they're going to go on vacation and there'll be a sequence of emails people will do. I think the answer is no. You have to be better than that. You have to be better than the sequence. I'm better than the sequence because my content's relevant every day. And so I tell agents to start off with, there's a couple steps. Step one, find something you find interesting, an article or a post, and just comment on it and then email it out to everybody you know with a link to it. So maybe you go on to CNN News about real estate prices up or down in your market, and you go, hey, CNN says prices up in Dallas-Fort Worth by 10%. Click here for the details. Start with that and add more and add more. Eventually, make your email that you write enough that you can do a short video and send it out to everybody you know. So you're going to build your channel, create a video every week, send it to everybody that you know about whatever you think they're going to be interested in. You have to find that niche. Okay. I can go for hours about YouTube. Any particular questions I didn't cover?
Well, I have a follow-up question, but Joyce has had her hand up. I think she's getting tired.
It's actually a computer hand, Larry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was okay. But she did have her hand
okay.
up.
So
I'll come back and hit you with a follow if nobody else is going to beat up on you because I can't wait. So that'll give me time to work on some stuff.
Yeah, but you better sharpen up your game a little bit if you want to beat up on me, I think. Okay, good. So Joyce, what's going on, Joyce? How can we help you?
Well, we always like to hear from Larry, so I don't want to shut him up.
Well, you say we, you mean some of the people on the call, not me though. You mean everybody else. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I have a new client and he is a hoarder. And I've never quite seen anything like it. And I need to be able to call someone and say, will you come and help me clear this place out? And I don't know who to call.
So first up, I would say, I would be a little careful. I'm not the most politically correct guy in the world, but I do think that you'd be a little careful about calling somebody a hoarder versus their house is a mess. They have a bunch of stuff in it. Because calling somebody a hoarder, there's certain implications. And I've come to appreciate as I've gotten older, it's harder and harder to get rid of stuff. If you have a system, eventually it's like anything else, it piles up, right? That said, I had a house literally where it was a duplex and the back unit had so much stuff that now I'm fat, so I'm a little wider than the average person. But when I turned sideways, I couldn't walk in the unit, get to the kitchen and then the bedroom without turning sideways and rubbing against stuff that was piled to the ceiling throughout the unit. There was no more room than me turning sideways to go into the kitchen, turn right to the bedroom. There's a bed and a bathroom. That was it. Now, the problem is generally if it's that bad, in addition to all the stuff, there's going to be other stuff like animals or rodents or something, is my general. So you need to figure out what you have. There are people who will junk it all out, just take everything, throw it away. The question is there anything there of value or not? And sometimes these people have valuable collections. Sometimes they have things that have inherent value, like guns or motorcycles or things that could be sold to get money. Think about kind of dollar per pound. And other times it's going to cost you more to get rid of it than anything is worth. More often than not, if it's a tenant, it's not the owner, it's not worth as much as it costs to junk out. You're lucky if you break even. I had one recently where I was negotiating an escrow, and it was a bunch of stuff, but there was a nice refrigerator that the buyer wanted. So I negotiated, okay, you handle the junk out and I'll give you the refrigerator. And it saved my seller probably $3,000 or $4,000 of junk out costs. So Joyce, you're in Orange County. Is the property you're asking about in Orange County?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, when you say hoarder, are there good things, nice things as well? Or does it look like it's all just junk and old groceries and trash?
Well, mostly things that are no value, like egg cartons. I think that when I get a little further into it, I might find something of value, but at this point, no.
Right. Generally, if you look into the property and see anything of value, right? If the house has, some yard rows or has some, something that looks collectible or has some, pop culture pictures on the wall, there's going to be maybe some other things worth looking for in the drawers or whatever. But if you're talking about, we say hoarder, egg cartons, newspapers piled up, bags of trash, that's a junk out situation. Probably there's not much. You could be there when they junk it out in case they find something of value, but it's going to cost, my guess is going to cost you more. If there's things in there that might be of value to offset the cost, like there's estate sale companies that will go through that and junk out what has to be junked and then sell what can be sold. And then you get some of the revenue offset the junk out costs. So it just depends on the situation. But I've interviewed several estate sale people. Grayson's is kind of my preferred vendor. And then what I do is, because they're kind of like a franchise, I guess, where they have multiple locations, that I call one, and she's in the South Bay, Kelly, and then she will connect me if there's other areas. So I'll put her information in the chat box, and if you reach out to Kelly and tell her that you're in the OC, I'm sure she has a colleague down there. I've met them at conventions and stuff. They're generally really good companies and give you good professional service. And if you talk to Kelly, say hi for me.
Does Grayson's junk out?
No, they'll do the estate sale. So she'll give you. Usually, you can invite somebody in to look at and see is there anything of value here to sell, and they can make at least. Then it's not you telling the customer there's nothing. It's the estate sale person saying there's nothing. So I would send them in before I. Unless it's obvious to you that it's all junk and your customer agrees it's all junk, well, then just call a junk out company. But if you think there might be a value, then at least send somebody there to take a look at it.
And how do you find the best junk out company?
Personally, I use 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Now, there are times like I have a case where my buyer's agent has a friend who wants to do it, and he gave me a low enough quote that I went to my client and said, here's what this friend wants to charge. Are you okay with it? And we're going to, use them. But generally, if I just use 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I feel like they're reliable, they're bonded. I always get their social media when I do it, and they've always done a good job consistently. Right. I mean, this is technically the administrator executor's job. I'm doing it for them. I can't afford to spend all day doing it, but I will go there And when they're doing the junk out, take my picture with them or video or something and try to make some benefit out of it.
Thank you. There's just so much illness that they can't really handle it. So I'm trying to help them.
Not uncommon. And so I think you need to decide, is there anything here of value or not? If the answer is no, there's a junk out. If the answer is we don't know, send somebody out there that might help.
Thank you very much.
Anything for you, Joyce, you know that. Now I get your newsletter every week. When are you going to video that, put that on your YouTube channel?
I need to do that. Yes. That's in my to-do list.
You take the time to do that and send it out. I think it's great. So let's take the next step. Okay, good. Thank you, Joyce, as always. Anybody else questions, comments? Heather mentions Bagster, a product offered by Waste Management. Yeah, again, now that, Heather, I don't know if I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to go in and I take out trash cans, the trash in my kitchen because my wife makes me. Other than that, I don't have anything to do with it. But I think you have to decide where's your service value and what do you want to do. If I was young, I would get involved in it maybe. But personally, I'm going to find a company that's going to do that stuff for me. And it might be a little more expensive, but I know that it's going to get done.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Heather. Okay. Other questions, comments, victories, defeats? Anybody want to make fun of Larry's YouTube channel? Now I noticed, Larry, one thing I would ask, one of your YouTubes got more views than the rest, and I'd want to know why. What was it about it, and do more of those.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a little bit of a theme that's going on that you learn. If you put out enough of them and you start seeing the responses, it kind of gives you an idea. But really, that kind of goes back to strategy where we started, and you dodged it very well. So we're going to go back to, you're doing a YouTube channel. What's your strategy? Talk to us about that.
Oh, I didn't mean to dodge it. I think I hope I
You
gave an honest
did. It was
answer,
an
which is
awful dodge, but
no.
I'm calling you out. I'm getting you right now.
No, I think what I think I said was two things. One is you have to have content people want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could talk about that. And the second one is the mechanics. There's a lot of details. I don't think any of them are any more important than the others. I would summarize them as promote your YouTube as much as makes sense for your business. And so there's a lot that goes into that. So let's go to the first one, content. I think you have to decide who is it you want to have watch your videos. So for me, I have three people. I want number one, an attorney to see my channel. I don't believe they're really going to watch my videos. And I don't believe I could ever create videos they would watch regularly as a group. Some will, but in general, I think there's that kind of like, well, I'm an attorney. What am I going to learn from this real estate agent? But the fact that I have the channel and have the following, and I'm interviewing attorneys and attorneys that they recognize the name of, I want them to look at that and go, geez, this guy's an expert. Like 10 million realtors say they're experts, this guy is. So that's my goal. Has nothing to do with the channel other than the channel is to fill that goal. Number one. Number two, I want other realtors, particularly those in California, to say, wow, this guy can help me with my business. I have a probate lead. I don't feel confident enough to get the lead as a listing without him helping me. Maybe he can help me get that listing and we partner up on the deal, or they refer it to me. Number two. And then some of them join my team, which is great. And then number three is I literally have had petitioners say to me, well, we're interviewing 5 realtors. We'd love to have you come by. And I'd say, frankly, I think your case needs a specialist, but if you don't, that's okay. If you compare me with them, we all have pluses and minuses. They're not going to be able to compete with me on the probate piece, but that's not important to you. I appreciate that. And, here's my YouTube channel. If you find it interesting, let me know. And I've had them call me back and say, wow, I saw some of your YouTubes. I get you're an expert and we want you to list the property. Because I'm really not going to compete for the business. I'm just, if you think I'm going to compete, we're not going to talk much. And I'll be polite. I'm saying it to you. It sounds a little arrogant when I say it to you, but but as I speak to the customer, I'm just polite and just say, I just don't, my business doesn't really let me go out to somebody's house hoping I'm going to get a listing. If you want me to come out of the house, we'll be signed up. I'll be your agent. I'll do all the things I need to do. If that doesn't work for you, I'm fine with that. Fortunately, I'm busy enough where that's just how I run my business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the content piece, right? I want to have the content that's good enough that people look at that. But who am I writing it for? More for real estate agents and for petitioners. And I would say any time I get a question, if I don't have content on, I'll make a note of that or in my to-do list, and I'll do a video on that question. I like to send it out to somebody because then at least I get a couple of views right away. Like for example, on a listing I have, I did one in California, we have a unique process for court confirmations. What does that take? But I did another one recently was, well, once you're halfway through, what's it look like for the buyer's agent? So I did another video for just that piece. I sent it to him, but other agents appreciate it. Got a bunch of views. So I don't know how to. I can go on for hours about YouTube. I don't know what else to say. It's very deep. There's a lot of details to it. None of them are any more important than others. It's like everything else we do. It's a constant process. It's not a specific activity.
So, one of my thoughts was, the problem I have with marketing to probate leads, that these are people now in Texas, you cannot pro se. So when they show up on a probate list, they're already working with an attorney, and there's certainly business to be had there. You're going to have to work, harder because you got an attorney now that
right.
many times has already got an established relationship, and they're doing the blocking for the petitioner. But that's not always true. So it's not universal. But I think the real value is finding the petitioner before they become a petitioner, finding the executor and the trustee before they take on that job. And so to me, it seems like the better strategy is to target those type people that are in between a death certificate and a filing for probate. And those have more value because they're people that I can develop a relationship with great content that answers some really critical questions they want, and then be able to turn that into an attorney referral, because I believe long term that's the value of the business, is having those solid attorney referrals. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, two things I would say. I mean, I agree with you.
Okay, hang on, wait. Bill Gross is now on record of saying he agreed with me. Go on.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good now that you say that. It kind of feels. Let me rephrase that. I agree with part of what you said. No, I agree with you. I think that, but at least in California, I really can't speak for Dallas-Fort Worth. I think LA is a very different market. I think we're more like New York and less like Dallas, is my sense traveling those cities and doing business in those cities, in that LA is a different market. In particular, my experiences in LA County, 90% of the people who pick an attorney, at the time they pick them, are very confident they're the right attorney. And 9 days later, they hate their attorney 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Hate them. And I don't mean just dislike. I mean, they'll cuss on the phone when I ask them a couple questions. Now, the 10% are great attorneys. The 90% are attorneys who have done one or less in the last 12 months. And now they've already been delayed once or twice, and the client's pissed. And the client realizes they made a mistake. So to go back to your question, should I talk to people who are filing? 90% of them after 90 days are going to be pissed. So I would certainly want to figure out how to get in front of those people, number one. Number two, my market is those attorneys. Now, it's hard because some of them don't know they need help, but I'm there to help those attorneys. And the client's pissed, so they're not going to talk to the client as much. But I'll talk to the client because I'm a salesperson. That's what I do. I talk to people whether they're idiots or not. I make a lot of money selling houses for idiots. No judgment, right? They can't think for themselves. I'm trustworthy. I'm honest. I'm hardworking. There's not much you could tell me. I won't do business with somebody who's going to abuse my staff or my team members, right? That's not. I can't tolerate that. You can abuse me. You can cuss me out all you want. I don't really care. Because either way, I'm going to hold my grandson tonight, and he's going to gurgle in my ears. It doesn't matter what you say to me. But some people can't handle that. If you can't handle that, that's a challenge. So I would not market to the filings because of that. And then the other thing, how do you get to those people? That's why, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say this, and nobody likes this when I say it. You all hate me when I say this. The number one market to is your current center of influence. Everybody that you already know, like, and trust, and already knows, likes, and trusts you. Melanie, how many times have I said that you've listened to this? Plenty, right? You're sick of it. You want to throw something at me every time I say it. But you know what? That's why when I invite people to my YouTube or my Probate Week, I get so many. I want my clients who I sold a house to 5 years ago, and I haven't talked to them, but they get my email, they see my social media. When their friend says, my aunt died, I'm standing to inherit a property, what do? I know the guy you should call. His name is Bill Gross. That's before he's filed with the attorney, because they're going to say, how do I get started? What do I do? Should we go to the attorney first, or should we talk to Bill Gross first? No, talk to Bill first. He'll help you find the right attorney. So that's why it's important, I think, to market to your COI or SOI or whatever you want to call your database. Number one, if you're not, I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm not selling anything here, so I can be honest with you. I know I've said this to a couple of you on the call. If you're not going to do that, you might as well get out of the business, because it's going to be a tough road without the people who already know, like, and trust you. On the flip side, if you do that, I believe you can transform your business like I did in 90 days. Because if you're the probate expert or the estate planning expert to avoid probate, to your world, they're going to call you with those deals. Okay, did I answer your question that time a little more completely?
Well, we'll have to dig more here, but for today, the answer, those are great answers, actually.
Okay.
And that's the first time I heard you say that we should be marketing to our warm market.
No way.
That's new material.
No way. No possible way. Come on. Okay.
No.
If you think he's lying, put in liar in the chat box, please. If you've heard me ever say this before, please. I honestly hold back saying, because I know some of you just tune me out when I say it, but that's the number one thing that will transform your business.
And Bill,
Winston Covington, have you heard that a few times?
Winston had heard that. Maybe
I got a smiley face. I didn't get a yes. Bill, you're right. I need a Bill, you're right, or I'm a liar. Glenda, thank you. Pants on fire. Actually, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah. So to your point, I almost lost a $1 million deal in my own family because I wasn't doing that. So yeah, I mean, I've got a squatter situation on an estate thing right now in my own family that occurred. And, we're in a Facebook group. And so that subject came up, and I was like, oh, wait, there's a teaching moment. I had not reached out and started to tell the people what I'm doing. And I could have easily lost that. So,
when I find what's already,
great point.
I find what's already in a Facebook group message is a little too late, because 20 people jump in with a realtor who've never done a probate or attorney who don't know what they're doing. I do think that if you can do a video on because again, that's a question somebody's asked your world. Where do I get started, or who do I call, or what should I do? That's a video you should record, put in a YouTube channel, put the link in the Facebook, right? Rather than just answer the question, do a short video on what should you do. And there's a range of answers. The truth is, depends on your state, depends on how many people involved, depends on how much money you're talking about, depends on geographically where you are, depends on how much work you want to do. And the answer is give me a call, and we'll go through the process to find the right answer for you. Right? That's always the answer. Call me, text me, email me. Set a time. Okay?
you got some folks waiting there. So
Yeah, I
will
do have a
sign
couple, and
off.
I'm trying to be mindful time-wise, so I got to run. Thank you, Larry. As always, a pleasure. Elvis is in the call. What's up? You unmuted here?
Okay, can you hear me? All right, we're good.
Yes.
So I want to ask one question. The first thing, well, first let me make a statement. Remember that deal you were helping me out with? That attorney ended up dropping the clients, the executor, because they weren't just they weren't taking his guidance seriously, I guess. Part of it because they chose me as the agent. He was very adamant about using his referred agent, but that referred agent didn't get the job done in the first place. It expired. The house expired after they had listed it for 90 days. So kind of just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, and it might
Which is
be,
I've never heard of that.
well, it might be that the realtor brought him the deal, so he had to stay with him, right? We always
Mhm.
think it's the opposite as realtors. We assume the deal came to the attorney and they gave the referral to the agent. But as I've interviewed attorneys, and you're in LA like I am, Elvis, but certainly in LA, I think also nationally, 90% of the time it's the other way around. It's the realtor brought the client to the wrong attorney. I see this all the time. And so we have to get past that mindset and not be surprised when they want to change attorneys, because like I said, 90% of the time they're going to hate that guy in 90 days or gal.
Yeah. So this is a limited authority deal. I think from our conversation, it stays limited authority, even if they jump to another attorney. But I think the challenge that these clients are going to have is there's an amount or a balance due with the previous attorney, and whoever takes on the deal, I'm assuming they're going to have to share the earnings.
So there is statutory rules on how that works, and the attorney taking the new case should be able to help you resolve that. I do this all the time, and I had one we did last week, and they call the attorney negotiates the fee out. By law, they can only charge a total of X, and then of that, it gets split up based on how much work has been done to date. I had an attorney who was my prospect, started with an attorney, gave them, I think, $2,000 or $3,000 to cover the initial expenses of filing and advertising. And the attorney didn't file anything for like 9 months. And the client came to me. I said, well, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing. And not only had he not filed a probate in the last year, the attorney had gone on to become a judge, which is interesting. And I said, you just need to find somebody, who knows what they're doing. We changed over, but because the attorney had done no work, they were entitled to really no fees. And they had taken the deposit theoretically for the actual expenses. They had to write that check back to the customer, because since they didn't take the filing fee and file the money, they were entitled to keep it. So my attorney got the customer back their entire deposit back.
Okay.
So if you want to reach out to me, we can talk about the specifics on that one. But I would say in California, at least, that's highly regulated. The attorney can't, it's not like a realtor where you could say, I want to give you a 10% referral fee. I'm going to keep 9%, even though you're going to do the listing and sell the property. It's not negotiable. There's laws that determine how that gets handled. And you just need an attorney who's aggressive enough to follow up on that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, here's my question. Now, I use probate data to be able to get my leads, and as they come into my inbox, can you share with us what would be your recommended steps? We're talking about 10x and doing a lot of efforts, different things. What would be your steps the minute you get the lead? Like, what would be your next, 3-4 steps to be able to get to listing?
So again, to be clear, I don't prospect cold data files. So I don't prospect. There was a time I did call and did mail, but I don't, and I actually haven't since I started with probate. It's not because I don't work hard. It's because I do other things. So I don't want to give you an answer. Unlike other coaches, I'm not going to give you an answer just to sell you on the data. I'm not getting paid for the data, and I don't really care. I'd rather help you be successful. So I would say, I know that Bruce coaches on cold calling and direct mail. He's taken over Probate Mastery. I think his intention is to do more coaching within this framework. Also know he has a lot of content on the All the Leads platform as well. So I would talk to Bruce about that. He did a class on, I took it not to do it, but I think he's a great coach. And it was like $99 on how to prospect probate leads and scripts and such, because I get asked that a lot. So I don't feel comfortable coaching on that because I don't do it. I feel like my strength is I'm going to tell you what I really do. I'm not going to tell you anything I don't really do. So I would talk to him about that. And I know he did a program on, I forget the name of it, but on prospecting. I would, a good question to ask in the Facebook group as well. And they can point you in the right direction for some of that content.
Okay. What's Bruce's last name?
Bruce Hill is the new proprietor of Probate Mastery, meaning Chad Corbett was the founder. And I think the right term is he sold the business to Bruce, who is also a producer and also a great coach, and has coached with alltheleads.com, a competitor, and now took over Probate Mastery. So he and Chad both worked together, alltheleads.com. Chad came over and formed Probate Mastery and then turned over to Bruce. So I think if you go into the Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind, I'll put the link in the chat box again for everybody. If you go in that Facebook group and ask that question, which I think your question is, what are the next steps once I get the data? I think that McKenna or some other practitioners on this call can share with you what they're doing. But again, I don't do direct mail. I don't do any cold calling, whether it be attorneys or practitioners. So I mean petitioners. So I wouldn't want to answer that without having some real information for you.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Thank you, Bill.
Sure, man. Elvis, thank you. And again, the other case, call me. That was a little personal, I know. So feel free if I can help with that.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, Heather, you've been very patient. Let's get you in the call as well and get you to unmute. What's up? Oops. You have to unmute yourself. The classic, ask them to unmute and...
There it is.
There you
Okay,
go.
now I got it. Okay. I hate these things, these Zoom calls. Anyways, but they're productive. I'm a realtor in the Baltimore County White Marsh area. I don't know if there's anybody else on this call who is even on the East Coast. I can't tell. But anyway, you may see in the comments that I wrote a personal representative handbook that basically helps anybody who's bridled with the responsibility of liquidating an estate, what they have to do. And I've got all kinds of stuff in there, like where to look for where grandma might have hit it, like, is it that squeaky board and the stair tread that you need to pop up and find those missing serialized bills or whatever, or diamonds or whatever people need to look at. So I have this product, and in the group that it was created, we were talking about reaching out to attorneys for the purpose of doing a business exchange, where we as realtors bring new buyers to them to create or update a will to protect their asset that they have just acquired, in exchange for being able to sell properties, get leads to sell properties from their probate or trust clients. How does that sound to you? And how would you make first contact with some of these attorneys? I just need to figure out how to get on their radar.
Yeah. So Heather, and is your book available? Is it an ebook or is it a printed book? Got it. Love it.
It's both. I don't know, everybody's so shy about clicking on links anymore, but I have a flip book that is just like holding a paper book in your hand.
Nice.
And a PDF link, and I can prepare a hard copy as well.
So Heather, I would post that and share that early and often with as many people as possible. I think that, to go back to the question that Larry asked, how do you build a YouTube channel? How do you build a business? It presupposes that. And the answer is find something that you're good at, you enjoy, and the market needs, offer that better than anybody else, and you win. And so if you have that kind of, and I know you answered a couple of questions in the chat, I now think we've met before, that you obviously know what you're doing in this field, but that that, and I know that's not going to help you. You need, like every attorney, not just to know that, but to be reminded of that on a regular basis. The other thing about marketing you'll find is that people need to hear a message 7, 10, 20 times before they pay attention to it. And so an attorney today could see, wow, this Heather lady is a genius about trust issues and probate issues. But if he doesn't get a probate case or she doesn't get a probate case until 90 days from now, they've long forgotten who you are. So you have to find some way to be in front of them on a regular basis as the expert to turn to with questions on the subject. So again, I don't think there's an easy short answer. I think the easiest, shortest answer I could give you is I would share and distribute that material as far and wide and as often as I could get away with, as effectively as I could. And I would I would maybe sit down and think about, what does that mean for like an hour at a time until you figure it out. That's all I really did. I sat down. I think this is the thing that if I had one more piece of advice that nobody wants to hear, that I give all the time, which is we all say we're thinking about something, right? You may say, well, yeah, I've done some business planning. I think most of us say that. We really have not turned off the phone, sat down at a desk, either with a notepad. I use a whiteboard I have outside right there. And I have other whiteboards in the room where I literally think for an hour, how do I do this? And so I have a process. When I want to launch a class, I have a process I use. When I did my business in probate, I used a whiteboard and sat down for hours at a time, basically a whole week, to write out the plan. So to answer your question, I think you're on the right track. I love the concept. I would love to write a book. I'm just a little too lazy to finish what you've done, a booklet.
It took me 9 months. It was a full-term gestation, really.
There you go. And I have busy business, and I'm married and have grandkids, and so when I was young, maybe I would have done it. And today, I have on my list of things to think about doing. I just haven't done it yet. But now that you've done it, the more people you can share it with, the more often you can share it with them, the more effectively you share it with them, the more business you're going to do. What does that mean? Just like I talked about my YouTube channel, there's a lot of details to that, but you need to write out your plan of what you're going to do. Maybe you and I can talk. I don't have your contact info. I don't think we've met. I'll interview you on my YouTube channel and talk about your program and maybe share that if you like.
I would love to. I would be delighted. How do I get my information to you?
So if you want to check, the easiest way to find me is on my link tree, linktr.ee/Bill Gross. And if you go there, you're going to kind of see everything that I have going on my business, just to make it easy. That's probably the easiest place to find me. And you can just book an appointment right there on the list. There's a book a call with me. That would be the easiest way to do that. Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Okay. Thank you. Got a little bit over time today. Thank you so much, Heather. That was great. Heather, that was great. And who else had comments today? Elvis, that was great. And Larry, it was Larry.
Mine was super.
No, that wasn't the word that came to mind.
And I feel bad for Heather going on your show.
Yeah.
Heather, buckle up. He's brutal.
Hey, listen.
Yeah. Hey, anybody, I'm going to put in the chat box. Anybody who wants to meet with me, I think if you're on this call, I am certainly interested in talking to you about helping your business. If you have questions or comments, you don't have to pay for a coaching call, a calendar link as well. Feel free just to book some time with me and get my calendar that way is another easy way to get in. But if you're on this call and have questions, we're colleagues, and I'm glad to help out. So let me wrap this up. This is our Probate Mastery Real Estate Brokerage Coaching Call. I'm Bill Gross. We do this every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, affiliated with ProbateMastery.com, which was founded by Chad Corbett, now run by Bruce Hill. So a series of programs and packages, materials to help you build your probate business. See us on Facebook and the Estate Professionals Mastermind group. Love to have a continued conversation there. And then separately, I host a live stream every week, probateweekly.com. You can sign up at probateweekly.com for the live Zoom, or you can see past episodes at episodes.probateweekly.com. And lastly, my Facebook group, Probate Weekly, continue the conversation there as well. I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Probate and social media. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call today. Thank you, everybody but Larry, for being on the call today. And hopefully we'll see all of you but Larry next week. Thank you, everybody.